Welcome, everybody. Come on in. We will wait for people to join us, and we'll go ahead and get started at the top of the hour. So we're so grateful that you're joining us this afternoon. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Kelly Kravitz. I am the director of our Highly Mobile and At-Risk Student Programs Division in the Office of Special Populations and Student Supports. And we are so grateful that you are joining us for our fourth quarterly Highly Mobile and At-Risk webinar of the 23-24 school year. This is our last webinar of the year. We have great content and information to share, and so just really excited that you guys have taken time out of your busy schedules to be with us. We know that you could be anywhere, and you're choosing here to be with us in this time. We hold that sacred, and we are grateful for taking time out. As we get started today, I just wanted to note here we have a QR code on the screen, and this is just for you to take a screenshot of that or pull out your phones. Please take a picture and let us know a little bit about who you are and your role. And this just helps us with knowing who's in our audience and supporting us as we continue to develop out trainings and resources and plan for best serving you. Having a little trouble advancing my slide. Give me a moment here. Okay, so we here in the Office of Special Populations are committed to high expectations and building strong systems that provide supports to achieve equitable outcomes for all students that have diverse learning needs. And so that's what we're about. That's what these webinars are about. That's what our training, that's what our resources are about. And we thank you for your commitment to the students that we serve. Within the Highly Mobile and At-Risk Student Programs Unit, we serve students who are in military-connected situations, students who are experiencing homelessness. We support child abuse prevention and awareness, students in foster care, students experiencing homelessness, which I think I might have already said, as well as just at-risk learners. We represent on a number of committees regarding the state. Students, we like to turn the lights on. What are the laws? What are the resources? And how can we best equip you in serving some of our most vulnerable students across our state? Today, we will be providing you relevant updates, action items, new resources, key reminders as we're closing out the school year. We are into May. And really excited today. So we're starting now with the introduction, as I've mentioned, that I'm providing. And then we have Dr. Gay Lang, who's going to be joining us today, giving information on educator self-care. And just excited to bring that information and that content to you and have Dr. Lang lead us through some excellent information that she's prepared. Then we're going to be giving foster care and student success updates, and I'm actually going to be providing those today as Dr. Watson is in Washington, D.C. at a National Foster Care Point of Contact meeting. We will then have Desiree Veramontes leading us through our Texas Education for Homeless Children and Youth program section. You'll be seeing me again with military connected updates. Dr. Bowser is out right now, and so we'll be stepping in to provide those updates. And then we will be ending our session with our newest team member, Dr. Ann Lay, who's going to be providing an exercise that walks us through some reflection, as well as some celebration and wins, and then closing out our webinar for today. So to get started, we are a mighty team, I would say a small and mighty team that does very, very important work here in the state, serving and supporting you and the students and families that we serve. And today we do have some team members out, and so we are running a little bit lean, but super excited to introduce you to our latest and newest team member, and that's Dr. Ann Lay. She joined us on April 1st. And just really grateful for the work that she will be doing, supporting us as the TECHE specialist, as well as supporting the work of our division overall. Dr. Lay brings wonderful experiences working in a number of school districts around special education, also serving as a special education consultant, doing work in the space of restorative practices and discipline as well, and even has her own education consulting business. She was 2023 Sam Houston State University Distinguished Educator of the Year and honored to be their graduation commencement announcement speaker. Something that is neat is that this is an award that you receive after many, many people nominate you. And so Dr. Lay being recognized for that award is just a distinction. Already in the month, she has brought just talent to the team. She's helping us to get things executed. She has a mind for systems improvements, very tech savvy, and just incredibly smart and a fast worker. And so we're just so grateful for Dr. Lay joining our team and for the work that she's doing. Some of the enhancements that you're going to start to see to our web pages, and some of the other things that are going to be coming out from communications wise, we'll have Dr. Lay's fingerprints all over it. So anyway, just wanted to take a moment, Dr. Lay, and have you introduce yourself to the team.
Hi, thank you so much. Yes, and as Kelly had said, this is, I'm 1 month into this new role, and I am so amazed at all the great things that I'm seeing from all of you. I come with 12 years of experience in my, am also a former assistant director of special education. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to see the growth of this program in this division, and thank you so much for having me.
Great. And next, I wanted to introduce you all to Dr. Desiree Viramontes. She has become a doctor since we spoke to you last, and so just wanted to shout that out and recognize that. You'll see some initials by her name, and just want to turn it over to you, Desiree.
Thank you. Very exciting. Super happy to be in this HMAR webinar. We've got a great presentation for you guys.
Wonderful. And as I mentioned, Dr. Bowser and both Dr. Watson are out today. So we are missing them, but we have new people that have joined our group today. So we're grateful to bring you something special as we close out the year. And our guest speaker today is Dr. Lang, who's our statewide director for restorative practices. Dr. Lang has joined us in the past to provide information and updates on restorative practices. And again, excited today about the work that she will be sharing and the information regarding educator self-care. Dr. Lang, anything you'd like to share?
Well, I'm happy to be here, Kelly, and thank you for having me. As usual, I'm always ready to serve, but what do I know, huh? Thank you so much. I don't know if y'all can see me, and I can't see you at all. But those people that can see me, let's get this party started. So
yes.
Yeah, I know Dr. Lang. I know Jack. Yeah, I know her. I know. I'm looking at some of these names. I know you. Go on and type it in the chat. Let me see who knows me already. Got her. I know that person too. Yep.
Love it. Dr. Sadberry.
Yeah. Okay, got that person. Davenport, yes. Look at that. I know all these people. Oh my God. I didn't realize all of you were here. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for recognizing me. Thank you. Thank you, Natalie Hall. Oh my God. Natalie Hall is a level 2 state trainer and she's here. I trained her personal restorative. She is that good. Oh my God. Bobby Jones. Oh my God. Y'all, if I could see your face, you know I'd be shouting you out all over the place. Anyway, let's take the next slide. Let's get this party started.
Great. And Dr. Lang, we just have a few housekeeping items before we jump into your section. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot to those really quickly, and then we'll turn it over to you. So just a couple things for technical support today. As you engage in the presentation, please use the Zoom Q&A feature to submit your questions during the presentation. So please make sure you're driving your questions to the Q&A, but absolutely engaging in the chat. And so that's something that we have open today. It's been a while since we've been interacting with you on the chat. So please be dropping information in. Presenters will have questions for you, opportunities to share out, and please do that in the chat today. A PDF and a video recording of the presentation will be shared out with you following the presentation within the next couple of days, and then we will also get the information posted on the website. All of our presentations from this last year are on the website with their recording and links if you'd like to go back and reference some of those previous presentations. And then again, thank you. We were unable to make the presentation available in advance, so we just thank you for your understanding regarding that. And lastly, you will be receiving CPEs for participating in today's training, and we'll be sending those out. Dr. Lay will be sending those out following today's presentation. We value your voice and we want to hear from you. So here on the left, we've got a feedback survey. We always have this included in our presentations. Please, again, pull out your phone, open the camera, and go to this link and provide us that feedback. You'll also see this at the end of the presentation. And then something today that I wanted to call out and recognize is that we are going to be creating an opportunity to hear from you. We want to celebrate your wins and your successes over the year. And so Dr. Lay is going to be talking us through that more towards the end of the presentation, but want to make sure for some reason you have to pop off or drop off, please do use this QR code and submit to us your celebrations and your successes from the 23-24 year. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lang, who's going to be walking us through self-care for educators.
Next slide. Okay, next slide. So I'm starting out with a butterfly hug. Now, I did not create this idea myself. Someone gave it to me from ESC1, forgotten her name, but she does a lot with young children, early childhood. She works at Educational Service Center 1. She came to a training one time, and we're talking about ways we could show children that they are loved, help them love on themselves. So the butterfly hug is like this. If you put your two hands together, here's my butterfly, then we hug ourselves. So first, we're going to start with a hug this morning with ourselves. Let's love ourselves, love on ourselves. We're wonderful and we're great. So yeah, why do we have to hug ourselves? Because life is hard. We are in a tough job. When people say, oh, well, if you can't do anything else, you could always teach. I dare them to take one day in a school, just one day, and see if they can make it. They can't. This job that we do in education is difficult, very difficult and very challenging almost every single day. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This whole month is mental health awareness, okay? And somebody put some butterflies. Thank you, Jennifer. Love your butterflies. And so I just want to take this time to express my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to each and every one of you for the work that you do, for your strength, your resilience, and your courage for navigating not only your personal life, but your professional life. And I thank you so much, so very much for doing that for our children. And now you have to take care of yourself. It's time to take care of you. So self-care is not selfish. It's not. So what is self-care and why is it so important to educators? Next slide, please. Education is a fulfilling career, but it can be very emotionally draining and tiring sometimes and leaving us feeling like, oh my God, I'm so burnt out. You ever had that feeling when you were looking around and thinking, okay, I only have a few more miles before I run out of gas? Now, I'm good at not filling my tank up, but I've gotten better since COVID. But think about this. You're almost home, but this starts blinking. How many people have a blinking light going right now? My gas tank is low. You're feeling low. I've had all I could take. Type in the chat. My gas tank low, Dr. Lang, need a refill. Half, not even half full. Just, it's a low tank. I mean, you can't even go any further. You're just tired. Let's see what you got to say. I'm going to read the chats. Anybody low? I see that Davenport on empty. Somebody said they're on empty. Low. Bobby says he's low. LaToya said half full. Somebody else said low. Running on E. Oh, wow. Excellent. Somebody says running on excellent. Have 10 miles to go, but almost on, baby, I'm way past that. Okay, running on empty. I know about running on empty. So we can't always run on empty because we'll burn ourselves out. We have to start taking care. That butterfly hug, love yourself as much as you can. Hug yourself as much as you can. Go in your office and hug yourself, especially if it's been a bad day, very bad day. In order to continue as educators, we have to begin to show ourselves some self-care and self-love. When the phrase self-care comes to mind, however, some educators may worry that they're practicing selfishness and taking time away from their students. But you ever been on the airplane and they say when the face mask drops down, place the air mask over your face and then help the young one that's with you. So you're helping you first so that you can continue to help the young ones that are with you or in your care. So you have to take care of you. That is priority. If you're not there, then who's going to be there? Next slide, please. Self-care is the best in your own best interest of not only you, but your families and the students that you serve. So if you can't give yourself some love and some care and get you some energy and refuel, how are you going to be there for your families? They matter. They're what one of the reasons you're able to keep going is some of you have family, good family networking, and they are important to you. So you got to be there. So make sure no matter what happens, take care of you so that you're there for your family and the students that you serve. Self-care is about taking care of your health and making sure you have everything you need to thrive, not just survive, but thrive as an educator. That means you come there with a healthy state of mind. Physical and mental health is very important. Self-care can prepare educators to handle challenges in life and in the schools as they arise. So every one of you have had challenges in a school this year. I'm 100% sure of that, 100% sure. But after you have this big thing that happens, or that difficult thing that happens, or that challenge that happens, how do you go back and replenish you? How do you fill your bucket up again? What do? How many people sing or dance? Let me see, type in the chat. Now I'm a singer and I dance, so I do that in the morning. It's almost a ritual. I get up dancing, I get up singing. I got to do something to break that day up. Somebody said there's a dancer. Oh, Chris says she does both. Somebody's a singer. Carolyn says she does both. Shayla says she's a dancer. She said yes. Natasha's a Zumba. Oh, I used to do Zumba too. I love that. But if you do something to replenish yourself, it's important, because without that, I don't know that you can make it any further. It's just difficult. You got to have some kind of outlet. So make sure you do something. If it's not singing, dancing, reading, taking a walk, just something. Next. Practicing self-care. So what is self-care? Well, here you go. Here's how we're going to practice it. Let's go to the next slide. Practicing. How do you make time for yourself? Set and maintain some boundaries. Our problem is every time we want to have a boundary, we just let it go. So when you set a boundary, just decide, when I finish writing this letter, writing this out, I'm going to take a short walk. Just don't keep piling it on for yourself and say, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. Take a minute, even if it's been a big project. Let's just say you're in the middle of a big project. It's due this afternoon at 3 o'clock. You got a lot done yesterday. You got some today. You got a little bit more to go. Just say, okay, at this point, I'm going to set a boundary. I'm stopping after I do this much, and I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to listen to a song. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I'm going to do something. Set that boundary up so that you could have time to breathe in between those heavy projects. Also, I know this is going to sound really weird. Since COVID, how many people actually forget to take lunch when you're at work because you're on Zoom all the time? Type in the chat. Sometimes I don't eat. I'm one of them. I'm going to tell you that right now. I am terrible. Sometimes I don't eat. Yep. I see Christy. Teresa said the same thing. Billy, Vivian. I feel you. I don't eat sometimes. And I said, wow, it's 2 o'clock and I haven't eaten anything but bread this morning, a couple of pieces of meat. Not a good thing. Set that time. Now, my husband is pretty good at this. He literally has a clock at his desk, and we both work from home sometimes, him not as often as I do, but he sets a clock, and when it rings, if he's on his last call, he literally shuts that computer down. I said, I wish I had that kind of job, man. I don't have that kind of luxury. How do you do that? But that's him. So what I do now is I look at the clock, I look at the meetings I'm in, and I say, I'm going to take 30 minutes somewhere in here for me. and do it. Actually turn that computer off, close your laptop, walk away from it. Just don't try to eat at the computer. That's not healthy. Walk away from it, okay? Next slide, please. There's something in each day that can bring gratitude and joy if only we will see and appreciate it. So acknowledge the moments of gratitude or joy. I know Kelly mentioned at the end, you all are going to do some celebrating things. Do that. Celebrate those things that you've accomplished quite a bit. If you sit down and think about all that you've done this year, I'll bet you could come up with some enormous activities. I mean, just a whole plethora of things you've done, from the little to the small. And I like Jenny said, gratitude journal. I love that. Beautiful. Look for moments of joy and connect and hold on to them. Try writing them down. So that's what I was just saying. If you take a sheet of paper and write down right now 10 things that you did this year that brought you a lot of joy, a lot of pleasure, a lot of joy, a lot of pleasure, a lot of feeling like I did a good thing. I feel good about that. You can write those down. And the journaling, when you jot it down, share it with a colleague. Sometimes they don't even know what you've been through and how you came over to the other side, if you will, how you got over. How did you make it through that? Tip 1, set and maintain boundaries. I like that, Dr. Lay. Thanks for putting that in there. Appreciate it. So when you think about all the good things you've done, write them down, because there's a lot to be thankful for. Now, you've been through a lot, I know, but through all of that, you still brought somebody else joy, and somebody brought you some. Next slide, please. Reflect on feelings and needs. For example, now this one is one's close to dear to my heart, because this is me. I'm feeling overwhelmed because there's a lot of information about new technology at my school or office. I need 5-minute break. Then I need to write down my questions and identify who can help me. The reason I had to put this one on there, that would be me. I am technologically challenged. I don't care if it's software, Smartsheets, Excel, whatever they're doing. If it's not mail an email or a Word document, I can't help them. So I'm usually the one who has a late report mostly. And I'm going to have to help. I will have to have everybody to help finish out where it is, especially if it's in some software that I don't know how to use. So I have to learn how to just decide I have to start earlier than other people to get something done, because I'm sure I won't know how to do it. And number 2, once I do it, I have to have somebody else help me. So I am so sad at technology and software. Really, really, I am. But I don't get as frustrated as I used to, because I know now to take a break and ask for help. So that's a personal story. Take time for yourself each day to do something that is not technology related. Take a walk, sit outside, read your favorite book, go on a hike, exercise, or just hang out with your family and do something enjoyable. See how that heart is being hugged right there? Just think about that. Let's do a butterfly hug right now. Ready? Get set, go. Hug. Oh, I love myself so much. I'm such a good person. I'm doing better than I was yesterday. Think about that. Every now and then, just take a hug for yourself. Hug you, because you love you. Next slide. This is really my little T chart. So this T chart I came up with in a way, I saw it on the internet and I said, I wonder if I could use that myself sometime. So I tried it. So one way to gain a perspective and recognize what's within your control and what isn't. So consider this T chart. I just told you about the technology problem, and I have to turn in reports. Okay, so I'm not good at it. So what can I control on one side and what's not in my control? One, I can control when I can start on a project. If it's due in a month, I don't have to wait till the week is due or the week before. I can start early. So I'm in charge of starting my projects early. What I'm not in charge of is when it's due. See, my boss says it's due on this date. I can't hand it to her after that date. So I'm not in charge of that. But what I am in charge of is how I can get it done. So if I already know she's giving me a 2-week window, why would I wait until this day that is due and stress myself out and know I'm not good at technology, know I'm going to mess up somewhere? Give yourself some lead time, anything you can to help stay in control of the situation. You can control more than you know. Okay, just thought. So use this T chart every now and then. Just say, here's what I have to do, and this is what I'm in control of. This is what I'm not in control of. And a lot of times when you figure that part out, it's less stressful. And then you don't get upset when things don't always turn out that well. Next slide, please. This is my game. So you're gonna need a pencil and paper here. So I'll wait a second and let's see. I'll wait a second until you can get your pencil and paper out. And no cheating, be honest, okay? We're gonna play the bingo game. So bingo, I'm sorry. B is the first column, I is the second column, N is the third column, G is the fourth column, and O is the last column. We're gonna put a point, 1 point for each one of these if you have it. So I'm gonna start and put in the B column, how many you're gonna get. So make your little chart with the B-I-N-G-O in the B column. The first thing is feed myself. Do you eat regularly or you don't feed yourself well? You have a terrible diet? If you do feed yourself on a regular basis and you're not starving yourself to death, put 1. Give yourself 1 point for feeding yourself. The next one is practice gratitude. Do you say thank you to people every now and then when they do something for you? Are you appreciative? Give yourself 1 point if you do that. Went for a walk. I don't go for walks. I'm unfortunately a terrible person. I don't go outside unless I just have to. So I have a 0 on that one. I don't go for walks. Took quiet time out. I do that. I take a 15-minute nap at lunchtime. I know that's terrible. At 73, I need it. So I give myself 1 point there. Brush or did my hair. I know that sounds terrible. But some people don't get up in the morning, brush their hair. They just kind of put their hand through it and keep it going. So I brush and comb my hair every day, as you can see. Now, add that up. Add those points for the B column. How many points did you get for the B column? And write that down. Now we're in the I column. Exercise. I exercise just about every morning because remember I told you I like singing and dancing? I'm singing and dancing. When I get up, I play my music and I start dancing to it. I'm moving around. So yes, I give myself 1 point there. And played with an animal. I have a 0 there because I don't have a dog, a cat, a pet, unless husbands count. Do husbands count? No. Okay, anyway, moving on. Talk with a friend. I talk with my best friend at least once a week, sometimes twice a day if she's in trouble or we need to talk. So I give myself 1 point there. Play an instrument. I do not play an instrument, so I get a 0 there. Listen to music. I get a 1 there because yes, yes, yes. And somebody said husbands count. Thank you. Okay, so now add those points up. That's in the I column. We're now in the N like Nancy column. Got a massage. I get a massage often. Yes, I get that 1. Did a hobby. 0 there because I don't have a hobby that I do. Free space. 1 point. Yep. I did nothing. I do that every now and then. So I give myself 1 point there. And bathe. Bathe is different than shower. So I'm not a bather. I like showers more. So I give myself a 0 because I don't do that. G like good. Take time for myself. Yep, I do that all the time. 1 point there. Meditate or pray. I meditate almost every single morning and pray almost every single day. I give myself another point. I showered today. Yep, I'm a shower person. So I give myself a point there. Read for fun. 0. TA doesn't allow me to have fun for reading. They only allow me to read documents that I need to read. So 0. I wrote down my feelings. Yep, I do that. All right, the last column, dance. Of course I dance every day. 1 point. Spend time in nature. 0. I just told you I don't go outside. I have some squirrels out there. They probably see me and they start running. Take a nap. Yep, I take a nap. 1 point there. Brush my teeth. Yep, 1 point there. And stretched. Yep, 1 point there. So all the points, add them up. All the B's, all the I's, all the N, all the G, all the O, and then go across, add them down first, then go across and add them up. All right, got it? All right, type in the chat if you got between 20 and 25, because it's 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. 25 points, 20 and 25, you're doing a great job. Excellent. So let's see who's doing excellent. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, wow. Valdez, 20, 21, 19. Oh my God, y'all are doing it. Y'all know something about taking care of yourself. Good job. If you got between 15 and 20, you're doing okay. Not bad, doing okay. I got 18, so I got 18 to 25, so I'm doing pretty good, but at my age, I should be. 15 to 20, you're doing pretty good. Anything below 15, get nervous because you're not taking care of yourself as much as you need to. You need to say, hey, I need to look out for me a little bit more. Even if it's just one more thing you could add to make yourself feel good about self. Somebody got 26. Wow. Oh my God. Good job. Oh, I'm loving it. Anybody below 15, they'll start thinking about it. Say, you know what? What can I do now to make things a little better for me and less stressful? What's your one thing? If you got below 15, I want you to think about it. You don't have to tell me. Think about your one thing or two that you can do to enhance your ability or your need to take care of yourself. It might be just walking, might be exercising, might be dancing, might be meditation, it might be prayer. Add the one thing so that you can have a better feel for self, that I'm doing better at taking care of me. I'm doing better at loving me. I'm doing better at noticing that I matter as much as anyone else. You are important. You matter. Next slide. Here's some quotes. If you like the quote, if you love the quote, type in the chat love. If you like the quote, type in the chat like. I'm going to read them first. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. Oscar Wilde. I love that one. Type in the chat. Oh yeah, Kimberly says she loves it. Olivia says she loved it. Ivana says she loved it. Cynthia says she loves it. I like that. All right, second quote. Self-love has very little to do with how you feel about your outer self. It's about accepting all of yourself. Tyra Banks. I kind of like that one. I like it. Tyra Banks. I like Tyra's. We got some likes. We got some loves. Stephanie liked it. All right. Olivia liked it. Andrea liked it. All right. The challenge is not to be perfect. It is to be whole. Jane Fonda. Whoever knew Jane Fonda could have thought of something like, go Jane. I like that. That was my like one. I really like that one. Every one of us needs to show how much we care for each other, and in the process, care for ourselves. Oh my God, Princess Di, go Princess Di. We got a lot of loves and likes. Love, oh yeah. They say they love that one. Yes, yes, yes. Amber said so too. Next slide, please. As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself, the other for helping others. The others for helping others. Maya Angelou, that was a good one. I liked it a lot. Very good one. Yep, Thaddeus said yes. Kathy said yes, she loved it. Shika said yes. Andrian said yes. Rafina said love it. True, true, true. Patricia, Ronnie. All right, thank you guys. Next one, be patient with yourself. Self-growth is tender. It's holy ground. There's no greater investment. Stephen Covey. I'm a Coveyite, so I love that. It's holy ground. I said, yep, I love it. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And we have Cynthia loving it. Adriana loves it. Erica loves it. Who else? Cheryl loves it. Cheryl Myers. Lynn loves it. Juan loves it. Well, I'm glad you love them. But these are all the things that I shared with you. Is nothing I made up. I don't have it like that. I'm not that smart yet. But I can tell you where you can get it from. So next slide. Here's where I got everything from. I kind of read over all these things, did that research. I did all the research for you. I gathered up the best thoughts and I said, okay, this will sound good. This will work good. Now the bingo game, they just had bingo there. I had to make it into a game because unfortunately what I'm good at is teaching. I teach by doing. It's just what I do. What do I know though? I'm an old school teacher. You got to practice it and play with it so that you can feel good about it. So the bingo game is great. I would like for you to take the bingo game home and try it out with other people in your family. So if you think you might want to try out the bingo game, type in the chat. I'm gonna try that bingo game out. Ready? Get set, go. Are you gonna try that bingo game out? Let me know that. Yep, Bobby says yes. Yolanda said yes. Rosa said yes. Shakita, Latoya said yes. Shelly said yes. Lynn said yes. Cheryl said yes. Ronnie said yes. Marco said yes. Juan said yes. Cynthia said yes. Susan said yes. All right. We got some people that's going to be trying the bingo out. It's a great idea to do with family and friends just to see where everybody is so that they can begin to do self-care themselves. I appreciate your time. I really, really do. Next slide. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Woohoo, woohoo. I'm done. Butterfly hug, butterfly hug. And last hug for the day. Everybody raise your hands in the air and shake your body like you just don't care, like Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. Now flip those hands right back around to the palms to the back. Bring down really, 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 really slow behind you. Pat yourself on the back. Good job, good job. Yeah, you did it. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, we love this, Dr. Lang. Thank you so much for bringing this wonderful information to us, just helping, teaching us, walking us through how to care for ourselves better. That was phenomenal. What an awesome way to start our last webinar of the year. So thank you. Do we have any questions for Dr. Lang that have come through?
If you have a question, please chat me up. I have a few minutes. Great energy. Thank you, Debbie.
We don't have any questions just yet. Let's see.
I didn't see any questions. Everybody was saying
Thank you. Really great. Love the ideas.
Raquel. Yep. Danita Jones. Thank you, Dr. Lang. I
Awesome.
appreciate you very much. Good energy. Thank you. For an old bra, not bad, huh? 73 still got a little something, still pumping it, huh? What can I say? That's that good self-care, girl. That's that good self-care.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome.
Jasmine says, I will channel Dr. Lang for self-care.
Yes, you do that.
That's true. You're a living witness of the self-care. That's right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all having me, Kelly. I'm going to have to hop off. And
Okay.
you all
Wonderful.
have a great rest of the school year. Self-care, 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 self-care. Play the recording. Self-care, self-care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Okay, wonderful. Such good information just starting us off today with Dr. Lang. We're going to go ahead now and transition to talking about foster care. And as I mentioned, Dr. Watson is gone, so I'm stepping in today and going to be providing updates on her behalf. So today we're going to talk to you just pretty quickly, some reminders for closing out the school year, also a reminder around professional development and some things to keep in mind as you're planning for the next school year. So this is the time of year we want to make sure that we are communicating with our juniors and seniors in foster care about those opportunities. Specifically, the tuition and fee waiver is a requirement, as well as post-secondary planning. And we know that you're wrapping things up, but just want to remind you of that. Also, the FAFSA requirement that we are supporting all students with their FAFSA, and specifically students in foster care, students in managing conservatorship. There is a unique question on the FAFSA related to them. And so we're going to go ahead and drop that in the chat. Remind you that the Foster Care and Student Success Resource Guide, Chapter 13, has excellent information for you. So just want to make sure that you have that and can reference that as we are closing out the school year. And thank you, Dr. Lay, for dropping that resource in the chat. This is specifically around the FAFSA and students in foster care, so save this. If you have a student, let them know, help them navigate. I used to do that back in the day. And your support and the one-on-one with a student to help them get their FAFSA right can be very, very beneficial. Also talking to them about those higher ed opportunities, that free tuition and fee waiver that all students in managing conservatorship have in the state of Texas, something that we don't want any kid to leave our site not knowing about that benefit for them. And it is a lifetime benefit. Our next slide is regarding professional development and just the reminder, and this is actually in our transition assistance rule, and transition assistance policy is for students in foster care, substitute care, and students experiencing homelessness. And there is in the rule a requirement around professional development and making sure that those key staff, your principals, your registrars, your counselors, your designated liaisons, your nutrition coordinators, your transportation specialists are getting trained on processes and procedures for supporting successful schools transitions for our students. And there are some of those distinctions and nuances. And so we need everybody in the network, everybody that is supporting that student that might be in contact with them, aware of what these things are. And often folks are not. And so leveraging those opportunities and a reminder, this isn't just like a nice to do, this is a must do. So the training and the need for that professional development. So as you're thinking about your summer planning, you're thinking about the start of the next school year, and you are that liaison, coordinating with your leadership and thinking about how you can provide specific training in building that wheel of support and supporting transitions. Also, really practically jumping into planning for the next school year, there are some specific things that we want to make sure that you're taking action and that you have your eyes, ears, mind around. So please make sure that your foster care liaison is in ASTED. And if you have had a change in that foster care liaison designation in the year, please go ahead and work with your ASTED coordinator and make sure that the new contact is updated. If there's a change this summer, make sure that that contact is updated. And so for all districts, you're going to make sure and work with your ASTED coordinator, whether there is somebody in your district, and you're going to let them know about who the new name should be, the updated name. And then if you were a charter school, you were actually going to reach out to TEA's charter school division and notify them that way, because they go in on the backside and manually do it. But we want to start the school year with updated contacts. And this applies to students in foster care. This applies to students experiencing homelessness. So please do make sure that information. ASTED is the director that people go to look for support. Who is that liaison? Who is that point of contact? And specifically with students in foster care, we know that you serve as the ESSA point of contact for foster care, and that child welfare education specialist serves as the point of contact on the child welfare side. So to support that collaboration and that coordination, we need to know who each other are. And so again, planning for the next school year, make sure that you know your education specialists, make sure that you're reaching out to them, make sure that you're identifying co-training opportunities this summer. You're revisiting your transportation policies. You're thinking through any particular planning needs, issues and concerns. Maybe they came up this last year. Let's not just put them under the rug. Let's shine the light. Let's talk about them. Let's get those issues on the table as we plan for improved systems and support in for the upcoming year. As I mentioned, that training, we want to make sure that folks are getting trained, registrars, nutrition, transportation, administrators, counselors. So thinking through that. Also, proper identification for students regarding PEIMS. With students in foster care, there's a series of paperwork, those 2085 placement authorization forms and the education decision maker 2085. That paperwork can be confusing, right? Especially with new folks, new staff, new frontlines people, maybe your registrars, they're not used to the forms, they don't know what they are. So we want to make sure that our systems and our processes, the folks on the front line, know what to look for when it comes to a student in foster care and how to then appropriately code them for PEIMS. And also, how are we identifying kids when they come into our school? What's our process? Were there any glitches or gaps in this last year that we need to resolve for the future, right? And so making sure that we're taking time to assess those things, mitigate whatever those challenges are, put the training, put the processes in place. And then lastly, this is the time to be planning for your enrollment conferences in the fall, as well as the welcome packets that are also a part of that transition assistance policy and what you need to be training folks on, presenting, having in place. So we just want to remind you it's time to plan for that if you haven't already started. Also within your welcome packet, identifying any potential changes from last year to what will be next year. And thinking through your enrollment conferences and coordination around that. So again, just a very high level, wanted to highlight those things for you. Also something really significant about May, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, as was mentioned by Dr. Lang. It's also National Foster Care Awareness Month. And so this is a really wonderful time to just spread awareness for students in foster care, to leverage it being a national recognition month, to get out those extra communications, to maybe have a conversation that you haven't had that maybe you need to have. Here at TEA, we just want to call you out and recognize you as educators. You play a significant role in the lives of our students in foster care. They hear things differently from you because you are an educator. And so we thank you, we recognize you, we honor you. We also know it's hard work in supporting our students in foster care. There's things that you're having to deal with that other people don't understand, nuances to working with DFPS and the child welfare system that are also difficult, challenges that go with system and cross-system coordination and the needs of our kids and working with foster families. And there's just a myriad of things that go into it. So we're just like, in this month, we recognize you, we honor you. We also say, hey, this is a great time to create awareness and engage in Foster Care Awareness Month. There's a couple resources here. We'll drop those in the chat. A National Foster Care Awareness Toolkit. Thank you, Dr. Lay. And some really good information on the Child Welfare Information Gateway. We have what you see on the left going out across our TEA media channels. And I would encourage you also to utilize this, do something like this through your social media channels, through your listservs, your newsletters, things like that, where you're presenting and providing information. We just dropped this month a foster care newsletter full of excellent content. Really today, I've just given you like a high level overview of some things related to the FAFSA, things related to tuition and fee waiver, and there's more information in our newsletter. There's also information about our upcoming Foster Care Summit, which will be our second summit that'll be happening in September. So make sure that you check that out. Registration for that will begin later this month, so be looking out for announcements on our listserv, as well as just some other really excellent information that Dr. Watson has prepared. Also wanted to highlight Keller ISD and their work regarding students in foster care, and we are highlighting their district and a few staff that have just doing some really wonderful work in that part of the state. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send those questions to fostercareliaison@tea.texas.gov. Also, we have our last office hour of the year on Friday, May 10th. So just want to make sure that you all know about that opportunity. This is a wonderful time to come, join the office hour, hear the updates from Dr. Watson, ask questions. There are nuances to foster care and the foster care work that is hard and complex. And this is absolutely a place for you to have that one-on-one, or however many people join the call with Dr. Watson, to get your questions asked in an informal way. And so I love it when our team, our staff opens themselves up, creates space in the schedule to support you intentionally in that way. Dr. Viramontes also has homeless education office hours that her and Dr. Lay will be hosting. More information on that to come in their sections. But again, the foster care office hour, if you haven't joined one, make sure you join. If you have joined in the past, come to this one as well. We'd love to see you there. A couple things related to just at-risk general updates. As you know, Dr. Watson's our at-risk state coordinator. We wanted to remind you about CompEd and the importance of CompEd. There is considerable funding that your districts get concerning compensatory education. And when our students are specifically called out in your district and your campus improvement plans, you can utilize those resources then to support our student groups. And these, everything has to be about academic achievement, about reducing the dropout rate, providing supplemental training and supports. So it's got to be in alignment with the intent of the program, allowable use of funds, right, per the state. And it needs to be specifically called out in the district improvement plan and the campus improvement plan. But this is a process within your district, within your campuses, to provide intentional supports for those really that need it most. All of our at-risk students, right? CompEd funds can be used to support them. And so we just wanted to call this out. There's an incredible FAQ that Dr. Lay is going to be dropping in the chat. It lists all of the questions related to CompEd. We have a lot. We get foster care questions, we get homeless questions, pregnancy related questions, and our students and those that we serve on this team are reflected and can benefit from CompEd. And it's an opportunity for us to think strategically about how we leverage this to make sure that our kids and their needs are represented. We're bringing the data, we're bringing those needs and concerns to light, and we're advocating our systems to make sure that they're represented and benefiting from supports like CompEd. We wanted to encourage you with summer engagement. And this is just kind of general. Summer is a very, very important time. You can either lean in or lean out, right? Kids are connected all year, and then summer we have the drift that happens. We have unengagement that happens. We have regression sometimes that happens. This importance of the school day, it is a safe place for our kids. It's a place of connection. It's a place of relationships. It's a place for getting meals, right, that are consistent. And so summer brings new challenges when students are not being connected to the school day and to the relationships that they have at school like they are all year. And so we just really want to encourage you to be mindful regarding your summer planning and thinking through what are those resources that are happening within your campus, within your district, and within your community, and how can we make sure that kids are getting connected to those opportunities? How can we make sure that we're linking up? How can we make sure that we're providing resources and supports to them for the summer months? And so this is just more of like a reminder. This is a really important time of year as we transition, and just want to create that space to acknowledge that as we're ending the school year. And in the chat, I'd like you to go ahead and drop in any ways that you are supporting students during the summer, any strategies that your district or your campus puts in place, and would love for us to have the opportunity to share and learn from each other. So please go ahead and start dropping those ideas in the chat. Hygiene kits. Thank you, Gloria. Tuition for summer school, wonderful. Summer enrichment programs, love it. Community fair to give out materials throughout the summer, wonderful. Summer school and transportation, summer day camps, summer bridge and education programs using Chromebooks, wonderful. The summer lunch program, the clothing closet, math camps. Excellent. Okay, love it. Absolutely. Keep dropping those things in the chat and feel free to screen grab. I love it. Desiree reminds me to do that, like copy those ideas. There is an amazing wealth and experience and knowledge. And now we use we use our chat feature to get that from each other. So thank you for that. Bags full of books and activities. Wonderful. Okay. Are there any questions? Anything that I could quickly address before turning it over to Dr. Veramontes? Okay, we'll go ahead and circle back at the end if we have time for any questions.
So we're going to kick off the Texas Education for Homeless Children and Youth section, also known as TECHY. Next slide. So here are some end-of-year reminders for end-of-year and summer planning, really looking at your progress monitoring and how your students got their credits to really feed into the summer school enrollments, and working with any staff that may be doing the summer school enrollments inside of your school districts. Knowing those principals, knowing where your kids are going to provide that information can be very instrumental in having a successful summer school program. Make sure that you're reviewing your McKinney-Vento program needs and community partnerships. There are so many different things that are going around at the end of the year that you're thinking about. So including items in your request from your program service assessment, really thinking about end of year surveys that you can send out to all of your stakeholders, your community partners, your counselors, your principals, and most importantly, your students and families. I always thought it was very helpful to make sure that you reach out to community partners about the upcoming school year. If you had a lot of great things that were coming into your school throughout the year, just sending out a nice little reminder email like, hey, for sustainability, or we wanted to do this next year. Do you think you're going to be able to help and commit at this time, or is there a different time of year? They really appreciate that, and it helps create a good timeline for you when you're giving out any of those resources for your McKinney-Vento students, foster care students, any highly mobile students. And then really looking at developing strategies to communicate your program needs. So at the end of the school year, your PEIMS is kind of wrapping up, you're getting that end of school year counts. You really want to be looking at making sure that you're running all of the reports before the summer rollover. It's very critical to do that. And then you can, in the summer, start developing some of those professional developments, and you'll have all of those reports already run, already available to include that district data to get you started with a very successful school year. You'll have reached out to some of your community partners so that you can put that community information about who is going to be helping to assist your program for the coming school year. Next slide. All right, so what do McKinney-Vento liaisons do in the summertime? Love the broad reach of an audience that we have inside of this webinar. So if you're curious or you're a new liaison yourself, liaisons must ensure in a McKinney-Vento that they're doing end-of-year progress monitoring. They're checking in with their counselors, their students, and their parents to see what the grades are, what credits they have, summer school enrollments, communicating summer supports to the district and community, really gathering all of that to share with your families and students in an email so they know where to go. Summer can be a very difficult time for students experiencing homelessness because they don't have that day-to-day free meal support from the school district. If there is a free summer meal program that's going on in your district, there's different availability throughout your community for hygiene or blankets or clothing. Really gathering those resources and sharing that with your families so they know where to go is always a great best practice for them. Creating opportunities to meet the same state academic standards as house students. So if you have a tutoring program or summer camp or enrichment, if you give them book bundles, I saw book bundles in the chat earlier. These are all excellent things. I always thought it was very instrumental and helpful to either in talking with my students when I would go follow up on the campuses or sending out a survey of like, what do you need? What do you need for the summer to feel like you have the same opportunities as any other student? Or what do you want to do to get ahead? Some students would come back with an SAT book or they wanted a book bundle. There's all different kinds of things. They wanted extra hygiene support or a list of resources. And so really asking your students, especially as we're looking at that ARP funding across Texas, it's an excellent way to prepare your students for not only a successful summer, but an even greater school year. Making sure with those seniors that you've been working with all year that they're informed of their independent status for the purpose of the free application for federal student aid and FAFSA. Also, if you are a foster care liaison, or remember wearing both hats, making sure that you're touching base with your foster care students. Have they had that meeting with their foster care points of contact to find out about their free tuition opportunities? And just reminding them of that so that they could go back and ask was really helpful. And getting those verification letters for your unaccompanied youth. You only need to do it once, which is great in the federal law that it got updated. So making sure that they have everything that they need for a successful transition for your entire student population into summer, as well as those seniors that are transitioning into post-secondary opportunities. Next slide. In the summer, so here are some end-of-year considerations. Professional development and family communication process. With your professional development, really go through, review, assess, revamp professional development for all school personnel. Considerations for professional development can be for your registrars. I always made a very quick video to welcome my registrars because they were one of the first staff to come on board in the summertime. And so I would welcome them back. I would do a quick little revamp, a one sheet page for them of like how to connect them to our office and do all of that kind of stuff. It was always very much appreciated. Your transportation personnel, your counselors, your administrators, to ensure successful identification of McKinney-Vento eligible students, really reaching out to your network of liaisons. We naturally work together as liaisons with other school districts in doing transportation. And so asking that network or working with your ESC to ask that network, hey, do you have a registrar training or a transportation training that you can revamp so you don't have to recreate it, is also a great strategy when you go into summer. Parents or guardians, this is critical for students experiencing homelessness and their families. Make sure that they're informed of their educational opportunities available to their students and provide opportunities to participate in their students' education. There is a little bit of a disconnect when you are going from, does my student have to be in summer school this year? Do they have enough credits? What did that end of year progress monitoring look like? And so an email to parents of saying like, this is how you access, like if you have home access center or grades, this is how you can know exactly what's going on with your student. Districts provide that information at the beginning of the year. It's a quick copy and paste to include that for your parents and families when you're also sharing that communication about where they can find resources in the community. It makes them feel involved in their students' education, and you can even ask them if they have additional questions or give them out a survey. My favorite question in the survey always was, what did you wish my program could do for you? And I'd always encourage them, like, the sky is the limit, like really challenge me, challenge Desiree to see what we can provide for you. It's always a lot of fun, and you always get really, really good feedback from your students and families, as well as every stakeholder inside of the school district. Especially if you are a McKinney-Vento liaison of one, that is sometimes your best collaboration is with those strong networks with registrars, transportation, administrators, for deepening your communication and your professional development series. Next slide. So strategies to assess gaps in services and supports. I really love to do this at the very end of the school year. May was a great time to do this while the students were testing. And it kind of quieted down just for like a second. And I would look at my intake form, and I would take the intake form myself. And I would really like ask myself these questions. What services were already provided that wasn't a problem for me to provide in that school year? What items were requested but not available? Or maybe I didn't have enough hygiene kits. And so knowing, like, in the next year, you know what, my student population is really steady at 1,000 or 200, to make sure that I always had enough available for my families. How often do families contact you for additional services and supports? Were there trends that you saw throughout the school year? Us as adults, we're the same as anybody else. Once you take a break during the summer, whether it's 2 weeks or a couple of months, you're not going to remember as much of this information as you are at the end of the year. And so it's very critical to do this at the end of the school year. Next slide. All right, so in reviewing your intake form, just print it out or start taking notes on it. Review your program services, review funding sources for your program services. Like, can I cover this through ARP? Am I going to use my TECHI funding? Do I have a community donation? Can I write a grant for this? This is all great things for you to do to make sure that you're able to do this. Is this provided federally, like the free meal service? Like, what is free? What do I need to obtain? What can I provide? Are there things that you're not going to be able to provide that you've been able to provide? Really thinking about that can help narrow down which grant proposals you need to write or community partnerships that you need to make. Next slide. So here are some end of year reminders in your needs assessment of your McKinney-Vento program. Start by assessing what services and supplies are provided by your school district to McKinney-Vento eligible students, school supplies, hygiene items, free school programs, and then identify those gaps in services to really take a reflective look at what needs and services are still unmet or may be unmet in the coming school year, and what partnerships, grants, funding sources can you utilize within your district or the community at large to meet those demands and needs. And sometimes you may only have like a small amount of funding. And so that survey with your families and students about what they really appreciated from your program can help narrow your focus if you're having limitations in funding for that next year. Run all of your McKinney-Vento reports available before summer rollover. If you have any end of year grants, you have any professional development where you want to include data, summer rollover, whenever that happens for your school district, be aware of it. Make sure that you're thinking about your data needs for those reports, needs assessments, presentations, whatever it may be. It's much easier to access before summer rollover. Send out end of year survey to students, families, pertinent school personnel, and community partners. Next slide, please. All right, so Kelly already touched on this. So just so you guys know, all McKinney-Vento liaisons, as well as foster care liaisons, have to update your contact information in Ask TED. There is the phone number if you want to jot it down, and the charter school email. And Anne, if you can drop that in the chat. If you're a charter school joining us, welcome and thank you. You have a slightly different process for Ask TED that we want to make sure that we're sharing with you. And always remember that you have an Ask TED administrator in your school district. So finding out who that is, we get technical assistance a few times out of the year asking us to update that Ask TED information. And so just so you know, you have full control. There's an Ask TED administrator at every single school district. Next slide, please. Oh, this is my favorite. So you've got statewide ESC regional McKinney-Vento liaison support. There is a lot of funding right now for TECHI activities with your art funding at the ESCs. And so really do that check-in with your ESC Service Center for summer professional development options. There's specific McKinney-Vento conferences that are going on, and some of them, there is authors that are coming in for those professional development opportunities. And if you are an ESC McKinney-Vento liaison, make sure that you are really sharing with everybody before they go out on their summer vacation to know of all these amazing opportunities that are available in the 20 regions. So excited to hear the feedback from successful summer professional development resources, supports as we wrap up our art funding. Next slide, please. Yay, TECHI office hours. So this is one of my favorite things. When I came on board to start offering, it was my favorite thing to have when I was at the university level or just with my students and my families. I always had an open door policy. This is our version for that. So we have office hours. And just to let you know a little bit about them, it's a time of the month that the TECHI leadership team sets aside for listening, sharing, and helping McKinney-Vento liaisons with their questions, queries, or concerns, whether you're at the district level or the regional level. We encourage you to come by. We have no agenda for that except for what you bring to us and share in the dialogue. We have plenty of people that just come just to sit and listen. We welcome that too. They end up popping some stuff into the chat, which is always very much appreciated. Yay, Dr. Lay has put in a lot of webinars and slide decks. This is very exciting. We've gotten this in our technical assistance. So we've got the McKinney-Vento 101 webinar that came out March 2024, recording PDF presentations on our webpage. The 201 that happened in April 11th, recording PDF presentation. I know second semester can be a lot, so we are really loving that we have all of these recordings available for you as you're wrapping up your end of year. So 101 is the basics of McKinney-Vento. 201, if you're wanting some discipline guidance, that's inside of that webinar. We did a special topics from all the incredible feedback that we get from everybody in Texas about funding and sustainability. That is our highest liked feedback that we've gotten in our surveys, was about funding and sustainability that we did on March 7th. Lots of really great ideas from the field, as well as from the Department of Education is included in there. And TECHI combined coffee chat that we just wrapped up. So that recording is available in there as well. And you can get to any of our websites, whether it's TECHI, foster care, or HMAR. That is where all of our recordings and PDF presentations are located. I just saw that question, so I was in it. I thought I would answer it. All right, next slide. All right, finally, pause to process. I talk very fast, so never be shy and say, hey, Desiree, I need you to slow down. I always welcome that feedback or any feedback that you guys have. I don't see anything in the Q&A. And where can we access the slide deck? Dr. Lay, you want to let them know where they can access it?
Yes, well, first I wanted to mention that Mark from Region 6 requested resources for families who may have been affected by, the floods and everything. So I will be dropping 2 resources there in a minute. The slide itself, I have dropped the TECHI webpage for you to go to, and all of the web decks, the recordings, and the PDFs are there. Today's presentation will be available soon. I want to say early next week. We just need to clean up the recordings with, the closed caption, and then make sure the PDF is ready for you, but you will get a copy of those.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for all of your questions and your participation. And I am going to hand it over to Kelly to get us into Military Connected.
Great. Thank you. Wonderful information. Thank you so much, Desiree. Excellent. So now I'm transitioning, stepping in for Dr. Bowser and providing some military connected student updates. So just as a friendly reminder, we are right now in our Purple Star Campus designation window. And so this did launch on April 1st, and we are accepting applications until June 7th. So at our last webinar, we talked about this coming, and now it's here. So for those of you that are working on your applications, thank you for the work that you're doing. And for those that maybe hadn't thought about being a Purple Star campus, but there's still time if you want to pull this together and submit your application. So what we have posted here is the application in Qualtrics, which that's where the applications get submitted. We also have a PDF of the application so that you can reference that as you're working on it, going in and looking at it, seeing the questions before you actually get started with the presentation. We also have a recorded presentation from February where Dr. Bowser walked folks through the requirements. So if you're interested in that and really wanting to better understand it and what are all the components of the Purple Star Campus designation, please do view that. Additionally, we have a Purple Star Campus designation self-assessment rubric, and that's to really help you assess related to all the different components of the Purple Star designation. And are you meeting expectations, exceeding expectations, or do you have some growth areas? And so that's a resource that's available to you. And then to the administrator communication that the agency released in March, wanted to make sure that you have that link and you can utilize that and reference it. And if it's not for Purple Star Campus this year, completely fine. Start planning for next year. And so that doing the work that you need to do now to prepare to be a Purple Star Campus next year. At just a high level and a very friendly reminder, the key components of becoming a Purple Star campus and earning this designation is that you must have a campus-based military liaison. So that's that point of contact for military connected students and families. You need to have an established web page for military connected students and families for your campus that they can reference. You need to offer a student-led transition program. And so this is a specific program run by students that welcomes students in and supports their transition. Some of this is done through more formal programs such as student to student through the Military Child Education Coalition or other types of student-led transition programs. It looks a diversity of ways, but a requirement at minimum is that you do have a student effort and focus around transitions and a program in place. That you offer professional development for your staff concerning military connected students, building that awareness about military, the culture of military connectedness, uniquenesses with identifying and serving students who are military connected. And there's a lot of different professional development opportunity and training ideas. And then lastly, participating in a special initiative for military connected students. And so that can look like putting on something for Military Family Month in November or Military Connected Student Month in April, or having a special proclamation that you put in place for the recognition of military connected students within your respective school community. The designation lasts for 2 years. And campuses must reapply after that 2-year period is up. And there's currently 331 campuses across this great state of Texas. Now, there are some tips and strategies that I've prepared for you here today related to the application and some lessons learned over the last few years. And so wanted to go ahead and just kind of highlight and call some of these things out as you're working on your applications. One is to make sure that your campus military liaison is somebody from the school. It's not okay for this to be somebody outside of the school or on the military campus installation, for example. It needs to be a school employee. That PDF of the application is there for you to reference, and we would encourage you to prepare all of your answers before you get into the application. Although the application in Qualtrics is saved, it can be hard to navigate if you're not on the same computer using the same web browser. So best practice is get all of your content developed, get it all signed off, get it where you need it to be, and then sit down in your Qualtrics application and import and upload all of that information at the same time. Also make sure that you include appropriate contact information. So sometimes there's some nuances there. So just double check, dot your I's, cross your T's, and make sure your information is accurate. Make sure that you include the narratives. So successful applications have a narrative that explains what they're doing as well as the evidence. And so making sure that you have both of those pieces in the application that you submit. Something else I wanted to make sure that where you do have opportunities to upload evidence in the application that you do that. And we've added a few more places in this year's application for ease. And make sure those files can get to be rather large. And so to have enough capacity within the Qualtrics application, make sure that you have a zip file for those documents, for those artifacts that you're going to be sharing with TEA as evidence. And so right now, if you're needing to like work on with IT, getting some tech support related to that, would encourage you to do that and make sure that you're familiar with how to create a zip file for your artifacts. And then lastly, making sure that you submit the application, you get all the way through to the submit button. And when you do, you're going to receive an automated email from TEA that says we got your application. If you don't get that email, it means we didn't get your application. So please make sure you see your application all the way through. Due to time, I am going to go ahead and just forego this pausing. But please email the military liaison inbox at TEA for any questions that you may have. And just the spirit of this webinar today, wanting to remind folks of things they can be doing now and into the summer. And so in this workspace with military connected students, we want to make sure that you are looking at your military student identifier processes, making sure that you are aware of how you are identifying students who are military connected, communicating that information, training folks. With each of our unique, highly mobile populations, this is a component of providing them support. So check your training, make sure people know what they need to be doing, and make sure that you have appropriate processes and systems in place for this identification. Also making sure that your military family web pages are up to date with information. And so that obviously goes for the designation, but this is a bonus. You could have a web page and start preparing yourself now for a military designation next year, a Purple Star Campus designation if you don't have one, and having that landing page for families that come into your community, your school community. Providing professional development, as we've talked about that's always important to be doing at this time of year. I did want to note with our Purple Star Campus designation rubric, and then also with our results-driven accountability, other special populations self-assessment, there's specifically a military connected portion, and this is a good time of year to look at that and reflect on that. Actually, foster care, homeless, and military are all in that self-assessment, and we would encourage you to use that as a self-reflection tool to support planning and process improvements for next year. And then right now, it's never too late to start planning your participation in Military Connected Student Month next April. We do have a new TEA Learn course and a series of modules and resources available that are going to be coming out this summer. And this is called the Purple Star Rise. We want to see the Purple Star literally rise across the state of Texas. So really excited about the tools and resources and proud of the work that we are doing with the Military Child Education Coalition to develop these resources for you. And we'll be announcing them when they are officially out and ready to go. Supporting military connected students, it's really important that you know about the Military Interstate Compact. This is really the governing laws and policy that our state follows in supporting military connected students in their transitions. All 50 states are signed off on the Military Interstate Compact, and it's important as a school leader that you know about this. This is training and information that you can get on the Military Interstate Compact. It's available to you. Would encourage you to take this training, especially during the summer, if you haven't already, and share it with folks that need to be informed and aware of the Interstate Compact. As far as upcoming training and events, we do have a military Purple Star Campus designation office hour happening on May 10th from 10 to 11. So just want to make sure that folks are aware of that. We also have some office hours again in June 5th. So please call in. We will provide you support related to your applications, questions that you may have as you're preparing. And then the State Advisory Council for Military Children, the next meeting is in July, and you are able to participate as a public member. Here's our contact information. So don't hesitate to reach out to the Military Connected Student inbox for any inquiries. And in light of time and making sure that we get through our wonderful celebration activity and that you all get to hear from Dr. Lay, we're going to go ahead and transition to Dr. Lay now.
Thank you so much. So before we get into the slide, I wanted to circle back to May being Mental Health Awareness Month. And that's the reason why I'm wearing green today, because it's National Mental Health color. And it's very important for us, especially at this time of the year, because we are at the end of the year. In my experience, they're working with campus and district administrators, as well as families and community members as a advocate. I've often seen the missteps and missed opportunities we experiencing and we experience overshadowing and also hijacking the many accomplishments and wins we all achieved and should be celebrating. So with that, I want to briefly present you with an exercise that I highly recommend you to do before the end of the school year. You don't have to do it now, but just kind of listen to, the process, and somewhere before the school year ends, just really sit down and really think about this. So this exercise centers around the concept of reflective leadership. So reflecting upon past decisions and actions, and this allows us as leaders to consider how everyone supports and contributes to the effectiveness of our programs and our systems. And reflection, it's such a powerful tool. It allows us to identify and appreciate positive experiences and better identify ways that we can improve our practice in service delivery. So remember that this is a process. It's very unique to the individual, and there is no right or wrong answer. So like you see on the first one here, day to day, it's very challenging. So it's very important for us to see the shining moments and celebrate small wins when possible. So really reflect on what went well this year. Don't focus so much on what did not go well, but really what went well and build upon that. The second one is, what would you like to do differently next year? And if you think about, things that you could have done better, it is also very important for us to forgive ourselves for mistakes we may have made, but see that as an opportunity for us to grow. The third one is, how have I managed my stress? And are there ways that I can improve on this for the next year? Our jobs is very stressful. I mean, I can't take the stress away for you, but if we acknowledge and we understand what triggers our stress, we can find ways to address those barriers. And it's just like learning for children. Find the root cause of what causes our stress or our behaviors, and we can implement and accommodate what we do to be able to overcome that or just rise above it. The fourth one is, was there a moment this year that truly inspired me? And this is important because we keep needing that motivation to keep going. And when we can hone in on what inspires us, or that one special moment that you really reached that child, or you really made that difference, hang on to that and build on that, because that will help you to continue to fuel yourself. The fifth one is, what ways did I make intentional connections with others? This can be professional, this could be within the families, the communities. We need to support each other, and the only way we can do that is by connecting. The sixth one is, how did I grow professionally this year? It could be something small, it could be learning a new technology, it could be learning a shortcut to things, but we have to grow professionally as well. The seventh one is, what do you hope your students will remember this year? We are in the business of education because of our students. So really, we need to focus our goals on what do we want our children to get out of how we support them and the ways that we support them. And the last one is, in what ways can I celebrate all that I've achieved this year? So this is a reflection tool. And so that's going to lead us into the next slide. It's the activity we mentioned at the beginning of the year. And as we wrap up the 23-24 school year, we want to celebrate and honor all of your hard work and dedication. So by scanning the QR code now, I would scan the QR code, save it as a bookmark or a favorite. I'm going to drop in the link in a minute for those who don't have a phone handy right now, but it will direct you to a very short Qualtrics survey where you can submit a celebration story, a win, an achievement that you'd like to share. These collective entries will then be used to create an end of the year celebration stories across Texas Video to be shared through the HMAR end of year newsletter. We're going to share it on the webpage. We really want to just highlight all the amazing things that are happening in Texas, all because of you. So our request is that you submit something to celebrate by May 31st. And I'm going to start working on that video on the slide deck around June, and hopefully we'll get that out. And I'm so excited for this project.
Yeah, y'all, we are so excited and want to hear from you. We want to hear the stories, as Dr. Lay mentioned, the work that you've done, the celebrations and the successes over the year, and we want to tell your stories. So please do create time and space for this, and we can't wait to honor and celebrate and shout all of you out in this way. Thank you, Dr. Lay.
So with that, just a few reminders. We have about 8 minutes left. So you heard about a lot of the trainings and events that are happening within HMAR. So this is broken down, just a reminder summary of each program area and what's coming up next, all the way until July. Okay. The next slide, we had a lot of wonderful information this year through our webinars. This slide provides a link to the recording so you can refer back at any time for the contents that were presented. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, webinar 2 is unavailable. And you can also find these links on the TEA HMAR webinar page. And let me go ahead and drop that right now for you. And then the next slide. You don't have this information yet, but now you do. This is also on the webpage. It's at the very top. You can go ahead and register for the 24-25 webinars. So save the date. The registration links are active, and you can go ahead and mark it in your calendar so you don't book anything else during that time, because we look forward to seeing you. Minutes there. Or a couple seconds. Okay, the next slide here is just a reminder of the HMAR webpage, and you can get to that. I'm going to drop the link there if you don't know it already. It is being dropped right now, and you can also access it by going to academics and then highly mobile and at-risk student programs. All right, the next slide here. Okay, sorry. Don't forget to sign up for a listserv, and you've seen this slide before, so click on that link, or if you haven't, go ahead and click on it, and then mark the ones that you want to be included on the listserv. We're going to start communication like high gear, so hopefully get a lot of communication going out. And lastly, the last slide here is going to be the email and the web link for all the program areas in HMAR. And when you get the slide deck, it's hyperlinked, so you'll be able to click on that, but you can also find this on the web page. And our last slide here, just a reminder, the left QR code will lead you to the feedback survey. We would love to hear your feedback from today's presentation. That way we can continue to support you effectively based on your feedback. And then the QR code on the right side is also giving you the link to the listserv. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope you have a wonderful summer. You're going to be receiving a copy of the audio recording, copy of the slide deck, and also the continuing professional credits in the email, hopefully coming out early next week. Do we have any questions? We have about 5 minutes before the end of the webinar.
I believe we did get a question about the military office hours, and it truly is just like the live meeting link for you to go into. So there's not a registration for that. And so that's why I believe when you're jumping on that link, it's just taking you right to the Zoom. So just save that. And then at the time, I'll be in there on the 10th, and we look forward to talking with you and answering any questions that you have about your Purple Star Campus designation application. Any questions at all? And Dana Peters, I see that you have your hand raised. If you want to go ahead and drop your question in the Q&A. And Kara Biggs, July office hours, which program? Military. Yeah, we could definitely look at adding some office hours. Francine, sharing resources on data tracking and what are best practices. That's definitely something that we can prepare and make sure that we integrate in next year's webinar series. I really appreciate that question. Any questions regarding ARP1 and ARP2 extensions? Something that I think is really most significant concerning TECHI spending is that we have received word from the Department of Ed, this is pretty hot off the press, that there's going to be an extension related to the 23-24 continuation funds. And the encouragement then is to be utilizing your ARP funds. And so those art funds are going to end on 9/30/2024. So that's right around the corner. And Desiree, please jump in for anything to add to this. But we just want to make sure and let you all know that that prioritize your ARP funding and your ARP spending. There is an opportunity that Texas is going to pursue related to liquidation of ARP funds, but that does not change the end of the grant. ARP funds are going to end on 9/30/24, and everybody nationally has been granted an extension with the regular ETSI funds, which for us impacts 23/24 your continuation grants.
For ARP funding, there is it's officially, there is not going to be an extension, and the liquidation would not include any personnel. So everything has to be obligated by that 9/30 that Kelly mentioned. So the Department of Education is trying to help everybody out nationwide and extending your TECHI funding. And so the Department of Education just asks that you utilize all of your ARP funding before your 23/24 TECHI funds. And we will keep you guys updated as we post updated information in that, but just wanted you guys to know that is literally as of May 1st. So
with the press, and we will be sharing information across our TECHI listserv concerning those announcements once things are more formalized and we have the information that we need with more details related to all of that. So definitely make sure that you're on the listserv so you'll be getting and receiving that information.
yeah, so your TECHI funding is going to be all the way until the next year. So it will be in 2025. So instead of ending in 24, it'll end in 25. Great questions, guys.
Yeah.
Please fill out feedback surveys. We love that. It helps drive what we're going to do in the upcoming year for any of our programs. Always very important. And if you have, always make sure that you're on Gov Delivery for any of those announcements. That's where we get that listserv. And technical assistance, it's always been very important that some folks get it to their spam or their trash folder, or they don't have Gov Delivery set up with their school district emails. So just look into that. Make sure that you're getting the announcements when you sign up for them.
Okay, y'all. We are right on time. We will be sending this presentation out as well as the video recording with the CPE credits to everyone that registered in the next few days. And then we will have all of this information posted as soon as we are able to go through our channels and get that information for anyone else who maybe you want to share the information with, reference in the future. And so we just, again, thank you for being with us in the 23/24 year. Thank you for the important work that you've done all year long, serving students and families across this amazing state that we live and work in. And we want to wish you well this summer and extend thank yous to you. Please send in your celebration stories. We can't wait to see them and hear from you and shout you out. And have a wonderful rest of your school year, refreshing summer. And we will see you again in the fall in September. Thank you all.